So this is my take on how we're going to fix our education system and all of the issues that go along with that. So obviously years ago they taught differently than they do now, and the results of that are incredible with all the advancements in technology and medicine and plastics and transportation. It just computers. It's just mind-boggling. And that was those people were taught. Those kids were taught with very basic tools to begin with. As children, they were taught very basic, and then they grew up very smart. Just 50 years ago, 60 years ago, when my parents were in school, they taught the same kind of way. If our children really are the point of education, we need to be doing the best we can for their education. How we educate. I honestly don't care what teachers make. If they really are worth $40,000 a year with benefits for the rest of their life, even when they're not teaching, maybe they're worth it. Maybe teachers in New York are worth more. Maybe they're not. I don't know. But this is what I want to know, because I want my kids to get a decent education. But I don't know how a teacher can take care of my kid as good as they take care of the other 20 kids in the classroom at the same time. My kid learns different. If the teacher kind of barks at her for not catching on fast enough, or whatever, she might break down and cry. And she's in high school, and she'll break down and cry in front of the class. She's not afraid of that at all. And that's a dynamic of learning that no amount of money can address. We really need to pay attention to what it's going to take to get our kids a good education, and be willing to cut out the things that don't. Be willing to change the things that don't. Be willing to have a conversation that focuses on our kids and not anything else. How do we move from the old school approach to everybody is a cardboard box and everybody goes in one way and comes out the same way? And how do we change that to something that actually works for kids in a wide variety of ways? Because let's face it, if you have a family of 7 kids, every kid is different. I have 2 kids. Both my kids are different from each other, from me, from their mom. I'm different than my sister was. And there's just, it doesn't make sense to do things the same way over and over and over again. And just put more money into it thinking that we're going to get better results from a problem that we're not even addressing. So, currently we're using technology and computers, but I see technology and computers really revolutionizing everything. Unfortunately, we have it stuck in our mind that the old system is the only way. The level of knowledge is so much higher than it was 50 years ago, 20 years ago. I mean, I got a cell phone when I was 22 years old, and the only time I used it was when I was in the car. I still had a landline. I had an answering machine. I checked it all the time. I almost never used my cell phone. I'm 18, and people try to get me to get a landline, and I laugh at them because it's so ridiculous to waste money on that. We need to do the same thing with our education system. We need to look at the past and where we were and make changes to accommodate the future that we're all headed for. And the future's coming whether we want to or not, and we just simply are not helping our children at all. When they were only learning 1 + 1 = 2, and this is what the color blue is, and it's the same as the sky, and this is yellow, and that's the sun. When that was all that you needed to know, it was very easy to educate kids in a cookie-cutter fashion. But, let's face it, kids are different. They learn different. I'm an adult. I learn different. But there are 7 learning styles. Every teacher in a math class, I don't care how good they are, a teacher does not teach the same lesson 7 different ways to reach all the children in her classroom for every lesson. It doesn't happen. So, hey, maybe she's good at teaching verbally, and there's kids that learn verbally and they do really well. But the kid next to them doesn't do very well in that setting, And so they don't learn as well. Even though they're smart, they get poorer grades. We need to come up with a balancer for that. We also need to come up with a balancer for not all teachers are made the same. I don't care if you have a degree or not. 1 plus 1 equals 2. I can teach kindergartners 1 plus 1 equals 2. A teacher that you pay $1 million, the teachers from 150 years ago that used chalk can do that. We need to help our children learn, not just do a good job for them learning, but also do a good job for us as a society financially, because financially we're struggling with a debt. And so we really need to look to the future.